And we're recording. What's going on, everybody? This is the Beige Wonder once again bringing you a video. This video is basically a recap of what's been going on in my life, and yeah, it's been pretty fucking interesting. Basically, as you can see, the Green Lantern Power Battery is helping me willingly um, make it through life and getting back to normal. And of course, the Infinity Gauntlet basically represents reality has been completely thrown off. Like it's nuts out here. So where should I begin? Um, 2020 last year was a very hard year. Um, as we all know, the pandemic happened. Um, we're still in it. We're kind of going back to square one. But for me, I was working. I was starting out at a job. Um, things were well. I was starting another job. Things was kind of getting back to normal. I was slowly, kindly getting into back into my profession. And then the pandemic happened. I had just started the job, and then, sure enough, yeah, I got pretty much that went bye bye. Luckily, I still have my regular full time job that I was working, and in the process of that job, luckily it kept me employed throughout the pandemic. I had to tap into my 401k again for the second time, basically to just make sure my bills and stuff got paid because my job kept me employed and I was able to pay my rent, but all my other bills had to be paid. And I had just got everything consolidated. All my personal debt was being taken care of, and settlements was being done. And yeah, it just went all the crap after that. I was in the house for the most part. I got to see what was going on. Um, you know, George Floyd, January 6th, you know, that type of foolishness and stuff that was going on last year. Well, George Floyd was last year, and January 6th happened this year with the riots and stuff. Um, like I said, the pandemic was not easy for me. I didn't benefit from any of the money and stuff that people was getting. I did get the stimulus, but that went straight to bills and what money I did save, I just saved it and put it in an account. I had to get back to basics, basically. Um, I got comfortable a little bit. I didn't feel like recording or making videos and stuff because my main focus was keeping a roof over my head. I don't have a significant other or anything else to rely upon to back me up. And I'm way too old to go back to my mother's house. My parents, loving and willing as they are, they will help you do anything. But, being an adult and being a man, you know, is, yeah, it's not fitting for me to go back home. It just isn't. Plus, there's no room for me to go back home. I mean, my nieces pretty much has their undivided attention, so yeah, that would be something. Plus, I kind of enjoy my freedom and peace. So yeah, too old to do that, man. Too old. Um, the main thing was that, like I said, I went back to basics. I got back to what I did when I first moved out when I was 19. Um, I just worked, save up money, um, indulged in my hobbies, try not to go crazy. Um, I felt anxiety again because the year before or the year prior, I had an anxiety attack where I thought I was dying. Felt like a heart attack. Like I didn't. If that's what a heart attack feels like. But luckily I wasn't having one. But the way how my heart was racing and pounding, it just made me very unsettled and uneasy. And luckily for me, I managed to get my bearings together. It took me a long time to heal from that because a part of me still feels like it's still there because it left a scar. Like it's an emotional scar that doesn't go away. And it's hard to fight through that when you're alone and when you're by yourself. And one of the main things I always try to do in my life is figure things out on my own. And as much as I tried, it just didn't help. It didn't. So I did have to reach out and talk to people, and you know, luckily for them, and well, not for them, but for me, um, they went through the same thing. Like it's like you'd be surprised how many people actually experience anxiety attacks and go through the motions of like borderline depression. Like I think I was slipping into it because I didn't want to get out of bed, and it was hard. And like I said, luckily it humbled me enough to just slow down, pay attention to things. I got back into my spirituality. Um, I started finding my connections with the universe, with the Almighty, man and woman, or man, woman, however you choose to identify it. But it was hard, man. It wasn't an easy road. And like I said, the pandemic didn't help, but I made do. And like I said, I got back to that. Ugh. I got back to basics, found my center, and then just started working outward again. I would dig deep inward and start working my way outward. Um, I picked up another job because I have to work. Um, I can't rely on one job. I tried that, and turned out that I had enough money to pay my rent. So, like I said, that was my main focus. Everything else just had to go to the wayside as much as possible until I financially could say, okay, I can work on this, I can work on that. And like I said, the stimulus checks that did come in, I paid as much as I could off to where now I am financially okay. My head is above water. Water is now shoulder length, but it's slowly kind of looking like I could hit shallow waters by the end of the year, where I can basically walk in the water. It's not too far in the deep end as I was. Emotionally, I'm okay. It wasn't easy, um, especially for my family because death happened, and it wasn't easy with that either. I lost one of my uncles. Um, he was my great uncle, and I lost him. I lost my only grandfather that I had left, and the only grandparent I have left now is my grandmother. I grew up where I had so many elders in my family. Like I had my mom parents, I have my dad's grandparents, I have my great grandparents, I have my biological grandfather that I only met twice, and that's a story. um, yeah, it was hard to lose my only grandfather. He was the only grandfather I had left out of all my other grandfathers that I had in my life. And luckily, my grandfather, he lived long enough to see all of his grandchildren. Whether we were his biologically or not, that was my grandfather. And he meant a lot to me because, all my grandfathers really, they all taught me stuff. My mother's father, he was John Wayne. I hate to use that analogy for a black man, but my grandfather loved westerns, man. Like he was a southern dude. He basically was a cowboy. Like he didn't play no games. He'll tell you, he'll cuss you out. He don't care how old you is. Like he loved using. That man had a potty mouth, man, and he didn't play no games. Like he taught me a lot about standing your ground and saying what's on your mind, and call people out on their bullshit. Like that was my grandfather. That was my grandfather Frank Crew. All day, every day, man. Um, my biological grandfather I only met twice. But I know where I get my lineage and my genes from, because yeah, seeing a slick back hair white dude with silver hair, man, it was crazy. Like I'm like I was like 11 years old, and I walked into my parents' house coming from school, and seeing him just sitting there, he was like, "You know who I am?" I was like, "No, I have no idea who you are." And my dad just looked at me. He was like, "That's your grandfather." And I looked at well, he said that he was my grandfather. I looked at my dad, and he was like, "Yeah, that's my real dad." I'm like, "Wait, what?" But that was a can of worms. But my grandfather Mickey, um, he was quiet, um, and he would help anybody with anything and everything, and he fought as long as he could to hold on, and eventually he finally got called home. And he was a guy. He would give you the shirt off his back. He was quiet. He was humble. He was a very faithful and dedicated man, and he believed in work. He believed in helping people, and once he helped you, he was the guy that taught me to always have a plan. I always had to have a plan B. Like always, 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 always have a plan. No matter what it is, no matter what you want to do in life, you gotta have a plan. And that was my granddad, man. Like to lose him, to lose the last surviving like elder man in my life, other than my dad, because technically my dad's like the last of the Mohicans in so many ways. But to lose my grandfather, man, that was kind of hard. And this was all back to back, like around Christmas. Like it was all back to back, man. It was like week after week, and then you know death always comes in threes. And I got the phone call that my one of my big bros, one of my best friends, like, he's a big brother to me, and to find out that his mom passed right before New Year's, like right at the tail end of 2020. She got called home, and it was hard. That was hard because I felt for him because he was there when it happened, and it was just, yeah, I had no. There's there's really no way how I could still come out of that. Like if I was him, like I don't know how I could come out of that, but he's all right for the most part now. But yeah, that was hard, man, because that was my eighth grade math teacher. Like his mom was my eighth grade math teacher. Like she taught me. So yeah, that was crazy. But that was basically my 2020, man. Like outside of geek and nerd stuff, like I said, I've basically been working, um, maintaining my sanity, maintaining my financial status, and just keeping up with what I can keep up with. And like I said, just finding my center. It's not hard, and what I mean by it's not hard is that when you finally stable yourself and realize, you figure out what you're doing, and you start off with one problem and then you move on to the next. And as long as you have that mindset, it doesn't become hard. It can tire you out, and it can hurt you in ways that I don't think anybody can experience. Because when you experience it, it's, yeah, you'll never forget it. And for me, I will never forget it because that anxiety was not fun. And I don't wish that on anybody. And my brother, um, he went through it not too long ago, which was heartbreaking. And to see him laid up in the hospital, um, just like, bro, he was like, yo, he was like, when you told me you went through what you went through, he was like, yo, I really wasn't dawning on it. But when you told me, he was like, for me to feel it now and to finally understand what you were saying. He was like, "Yo, I don't wish this on anybody." I was like, "I told you, like it's hard, man." He was like, "Yo, this shit hurt." He was like, "I thought I was dying." I was like, "But luckily you're not." And like I said, man, men in my family, we were taught, and that's not just my family, but black men in general. We was taught to hold it in. Like we didn't really have an outlet. If we did, we was considered weak for doing it. And now with people understanding mental health and sharing more and more, there are still some that still hold it in. And my demons, whew, I had to make peace with my demons. I had to make peace with them, and now I can have a drink with them. Because that's the solace that I need to do. Like I don't need to, you know, I don't need to exercise them out of me. I need to make peace with them to understand, so I don't go through that again. And like I said, my demon time, hey, it can, yeah, let's just say I have it to the point where I can have a drink with them. I can't, I can never let them take control of me again, like the way how it almost happened. Because that anxiety attack was not fun. And I tell anybody, and like I told my brother, like you have to let go of stuff. You can't hold it in, and you got to let it out. And if you don't talk, write it down. And for me, it was music. Um, like a lot of people make fun of people of color listening to like rock and roll or alternative music, but trust me when I tell you, when you listen to them words, because for me, Linkin Park was my outlet. That was everything. Like those lyrics really did help me get through some stuff. And like I said, I had to look inward and go back to basics. Like I had to really dig deep and go through everything and just really make sure that, like, hey, was I over this, or did I just bury it and didn't resolve it? And you know having to have those moments when you got to be like, hey, yo, you okay? When you looking in the mirror and talking to yourself, and, hey, man, sometimes talking to yourself helps. It doesn't hurt. It helps, especially if you talking to yourself for reasons of understanding and searching. Like it does help. Like holding on to that elephant on your chest, as my aunt would tell me. Like holding that on, man. Like you don't do it. It's not fun. It's not fun at all. But that's been my my recap, man. Just to get out of that tone or that type of discussion, like I said, is I've just been working. I've been maintaining. I'm slowly trying to work on more content as far as like my 2 cents. Just giving my opinion on things, and that's pretty much it. Like I said, my partner in crime, Rupin the Third, he's been working. Like we've all been working. Like as far as like my friends and family and friends that are family that I consider my brothers and sisters. Like we've just been working, man. Like we've been trying to go through this pandemic and trying to make it out the end. I got vaccinated. Um, as skeptical as I was about getting vaccinated, I had to look at the truth of the matter is I had to look at the downside of everything. And the main thing that I realized, even though yes, I am a man of color, and taking something that I shouldn't be taking because of the history in this country of the government, telling us one thing but saying something else. I had to ask myself, what's my alternative? Hooked up to a respirator and my family not being able to talk to me, not able to be able to see me, or being in the room alone to the point where I'm gonna die. and I'm just stuck in here by myself with nobody to talk to me. I have a niece. She's just turned 5. And like for her, it's like, yeah, like she doesn't know what's going on, but I can't clock out yet. Still got to watch her grow up. You know, can't leave my brother by himself because he'll go crazy. He's being the best dad that he can be, and I'm proud of him. But yeah, I can't clock out yet. My mom, she would have a fit if I did. My dad would not know what to do with himself because he still has a lot going on in him that he has not resolved or even went to anybody to talk about. But he'll swear up and down he's okay, but I know he's not. Um, but yeah, I got vaccinated. I was like, screw it. I don't know what's in it, but then again, I don't know what's in anything that I do or anything that I inhale or that I drink or that I eat. Like I don't know what's in it. I just know it tastes good, so screw it. I take medications from doctors, especially going through my anxiety. I have no idea what's in it, but apparently it's a chemical that's supposed to balance me out. So okay, so you know, I mean, to me, vaccines is just do it. Like, what's your alternative? Like, I always ask myself that question: what's the alternative? And when the pros outweigh the cons, I'm gonna just go ahead and go with that. I talked to doctors. I talked to my sister who got vaccinated because she works in the nursing field, and a lot of people in her field, as well as her being a person of color as well. The one thing she told me was that, hey, if I'm taking it, then you know. And I was like, yeah, but that doesn't mean anything. And she was like, bro, like, trust me. She was like, there's plenty of black people taking this vaccine in this profession because we see the alternative. And she was like, yeah, like, do you really want to take the chance? And I was like, you know what, you're right. But I got the one that she got, which was Pfizer. So I've been vaccinated since April, fully vaccinated since April. So, hey, but I don't go anywhere. I don't take any chances. I don't tempt fate by any means necessary. Like, I have not traveled. The most that I did travel was to my cousin's wedding. Um, but majority of everybody there was vaccinated. Um, and yeah, I felt fine. We traveled on a train. Because I'm definitely not doing the airports because that shit I don't trust, and seeing everything that's going on with that's not a good idea. But hey, that's been my life, man. It's not an easy road. Um, it's not a. I have no idea what a lot of people going through, but you know, I'm here to share what I went through. And right now, I'm just continuing to work, continue to build, continue to grow, carve out my own lane. Um, basically, if if anything was to happen, at least there's something on the internet that I could say, hey, if you ever wanted to know more about me, here it is. Other than my many journals that I've wrote and just wrote down everything. I even went back and read some of those things, and yeah, going like I said, going through the anxiety and emotions, I had to really start from scratch. I had to really look inward, back to basics, and then work my way outward because it was hard. It was hard getting out the bed because I really did not want to get out, and I music was something that helped me along the way. Denzel Washington definitely helped me because his graduation speech was probably the one thing that helped me the most. Listening to that on like repeat and finally, you know, having that final breakdown moment that I needed. I had to have a good cry. Like, it was a long time coming, but yeah, that cry in the shower was everything. And I'm willing to admit that I did that, so I don't care. Judge me however you want. I don't care. That was everything. I needed that. It helped. It helped so much, and I appreciated it. But hey, that's what's been going on with me. I am going to start doing more videos. I've been playing around with other stuff, but like I said, I've been working. Um, so there's been a lot of stuff that's been going on, like in pop culture, that I wish I could make time to, try to catch up on or at least try to talk about. But I will do my best because I would try to be as current as I can. But yeah, I work. I really do work, man. Like working 2 to 3 jobs right now because yeah, I don't want to be homeless. That's the one thing. Because yeah, that's not a good thing for me right now. But I have to keep pushing. I have to keep moving forward. Saving money, investing more than I ever thought I would be doing, and not so much as if I haven't been just pushing that issue. My main job, a lot of stuff comes out of that check that I get from that job, and then the other jobs that I work part time are, just extra money. I save it, I stack it, I spend it, as just a, because you gotta please yourself every now and then. You gotta take care of yourself. Self is everything, and I've been trying to stay healthy. I drink as much water as I can. I take, vitamins. Um, you know, my men's one a days and Centrums. Hey, it helps. It does help. Like I said, any type of way I can stay healthy is the best thing that I can do, especially mentally. Like I said, I try to do my best to not go crazy. But anyway, I do not want to keep spending more time on this video, um, going through a sour patch. But like I said, that's been what's going on in my life and how I was making out last year throughout the pandemic and where I'm at now currently. Like I said, I just made a video with Masters of the Universe. Y'all can check that out because that's the latest thing that I've done. And yeah, I'm going to see if I can pump out another video. Got some editing that I want to try. So you guys will get to see that. So all in all, it's been real. It's been fun. I thank you guys for your time. If you actually made it through this entire video, you guys stay safe, stay positive, and as always, I see you in the funny pages. Peace.